Hi folks, welcome back to Math with Captain Rod here. I'm making this video here to help you understand how to go back and forth between exponential expressions and radical expressions. So we'll take a look at number 11 here. I already went through this once, but let me just do a quick overview here. All right, so if I have some number to a power, and that power is a fraction, like a over b or something, and it's negative. So the minus sign has to do with what I always say, like upstairs or downstairs in a fraction. Like n to a negative number would mean that this would end up down here. N to a positive number would mean it ends up top. The a is the power, and the b is what root you're looking at. So for example, let's say 3 to the minus 7/3, right, is equal to 1 over 3, and the 7 is the power to the 7th, and the 3 is the root. Right? So that would be the 1 over the cubed root of 3 to the 7th power. So as we go through these, we'll take a look at these examples here. So 2 to the 1/3. The 1 is the power, the 3 is the root. So this is equal to the cubed root of 2 to the 1st power. And that's done. Number 12. Okay, the 7 is the power, the 4 is the root, so this is equal to the 4th root of 2x to the 7th power. Okay, number 13, all right, this 2/3. First thing to realize is this -9 sitting in front of it doesn't have anything to do with the 2/3. If this were in parentheses, then this would apply to -9, but it's not. This -9 is just a number sitting in front, and this is the cubed root of a squared. Okay, number 14. Okay, this 3/5 applies to everything inside of here. I don't know, probably just leave this just the way it is. This is the 5th root of x squared y squared cubed. And let's go ahead and simplify that one a little bit more. This cube applies to both of these, so 5th root of x to the 6th, y to the 6th. Now, we can pull a 5th root out, but I think the directions here was to write as a radical expression, so I'm just going to move on. All right, write this radical expression as an exponent. So this is the square root of 15 to the 1st power, so that's 15 to the 1/2. Take a look at 16 here. This minus sign is just sitting in front, not really relevant to the rest of this problem. And this is the cubed root of 4x to the 4th power. So 4x to the 4th power cubed root. This is just the square root of this thing in the radical. So a squared minus 8 to the 1/2 power. 18 here. This 3x is just sitting in front, not really relevant to the radical part. Okay, now I got to decide if this 4 is attached to the x or if that's a 4th root. It's really kind of impossible to tell. I'm going to assume that that's 4th root of y instead of 3x to the 4th and then square root of y. I'm not really sure which one. I didn't type this. I'm not sure which one was intended. And let me just put or. It could be 3x to the 4th and then y to the 1/2, because I'm not really sure about that 4, whether it's supposed to be attached to the x or if that's 4th root. So I'll just say one or the other, depending on your interpretation. All right, simplifying expressions that are perfect powers. So a couple ways to simplify this. Right? This is the square root, so we could think of this as x to the 12/2, right, which is x to the 6th. We could also break this down into x squared times 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 x squared, and square root all of those x squareds and get that. All right, it's like number 20. Now the minus sign, just leave that in front. That's just sitting out in front of this. And this is the square root of x to the 14th power, so x to the 14 over 2. And that can be simplified to x to the 7th. All right, these pesky minus signs, don't let these bother you. This is just a number sitting out in front. This cube root applies to both of these, so this term is going to be x to the 12 over 3, and this will be y to the 6 over 3. And we can simplify this one a little bit. How about we call that x to the 4th and y squared. All right, this one, 5th root of x to the 10th, y to the 25th. So this 5th root applies to both of these. So this is going to equal x to the 10 over 5, y to the 25 over 5. That's going to be x squared, y to the 5th. All right, this minus sign. Now this one is under the radical, and I suggest what we do here is we just bring it out. The cube root of -1 is -1, so this can come out in front. And then this is going to be a to the 9/3, b to the 12/3. So we'll have minus a to the 3rd, b to the 4th, and that's done. 24 here. All right, the square root of 144, that's 12. And then this will be x to the 12 halves, y to the 16 halves. Or in other words, 12x to the 6th, y to the 8th. Not really much more to do there. All right, this 5th root applies to both of these. So this is going to be x to the 15/3, y to the 25. I'm sorry, did I say thirds? I got to go back on that. Oops. My apologies here. This thing jumps on me sometimes. Where were we here? There we go. Okay, that was 15 over 5, not 3. Y to the 25 over 5. And that's going to be x to the 3rd, y to the 5th. I'll leave this one as an exercise to the reader here. I would just point out this minus sign just stays out in front. Don't let that bother you. A to the 8 over 4, b to the 12 over 4, and you can write it out. Oh, looks like I'm to the end of my sheet. So, all right, so intent in this video was to help you learn how to write things with these radical expressions as exponent expressions. Hopefully this has done that for you. Have a great day.